Hey, thanks for stopping by for your weekly Kiss from Kristen. Today I want to talk about a way of eating that's getting a lot of traction these days. And I want to give you some benefits that are not just about weight loss. Weight loss is good, but what if there's other things that are good for you as well? The more you have, the more reasons you have to do something, the more likely you're going to stay doing it. So I'm going to give you a few other reasons than just weight loss so you can expand your mindset about this. Um, if you're new here, I'm Kristen Wood, your favorite body wellness coach. I get to bring life coaching and health coaching to my clients because it's never just one thing that has us stuck in a weight that we don't want. And when I work with a client, I'm not the kind of coach that is going to give a specific diet, a specific workout. We're going to work together to find what works best for you because I don't believe in one size fits all. Not for clothes and not for a diet for sure. So I want to give you some ideas today about fasting. Uh, I've been doing this for quite a while. But I will tell you, when I started, and for the longest time, I just didn't feel in alignment with it. And I really didn't even tell people that that's what I was doing because I just felt so, I don't know, kind of icky about it. And what it came down to for me is that when I think of fasting, I think of it in a spiritual sense. So you skip a meal, and in that time, you are doing something spiritual. I was not doing that. I was simply not eating the meal. So to call it fasting just felt like I wasn't in alignment with what that word means to me. And then finally one day, I heard the term time restricted eating. And I was like, bingo, that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm just restricting the time that I fuel my body each day. And since I have switched my terminology, it feels so much better. So I want to give that to you. If you have heard about fasting and it just doesn't feel right to you, maybe for you it's something in the definition as well. And if it is, then totally go with time restricted eating. Now, I have done some research over what's the difference between fasting and time restricted eating. There's a lot of people that have something to say about this, and from what I can tell, there's a lot of things that get crossed depending on who is giving the definition. So I don't really feel like there's anything significant that is different between the two. It's kind of like, am I from Missouri or am I from Missouri? There's no difference. It's the same thing. So I prefer, it feels better for me to say that I follow a time restricted eating pattern. Now, let's talk about some of the benefits of this kind of eating. We know there's a weight benefit that comes with it, but for health, if you eat on this kind of a plan, you are going to see improvements in, possibly see improvements in diabetes, in blood pressure, in heart disease. Now, those are three pretty big hitters. Maybe you are not at a place where those are on your radar. Maybe that's really not top of mind for you. So let's talk about a few others. There's energy. Energy that is mental and physical that you can gain by a time restricted eating plan. Inflammation. Inflammation is a huge one that I really like to reap the rewards from. A reduced inflammation. And gut health. So many people have gut issues that don't even really get addressed. So your gut issues can be improved with time restricted eating. Now, a thing I recently heard that I thought was fascinating is that when you lose weight by following a time restricted eating plan, your skin actually contracts with your body. So it's you don't have that loose skin that you might have when you just lose weight through calorie restriction. So that is good. You lose weight, you look better, and you really look better because your skin fits you better. Now, is this something that's gonna, mess with your body? Is your body really meant to eat like this? Absolutely. This is how we were designed to eat. So the way our body works is we eat a meal, and insulin comes out and takes all the pieces of the meal and puts it in the correct storage spots. And then we go about living our day, burning our calories, using our energy. And after about 4 to 5 hours, our body realizes that it needs to start pulling glucose from our liver to convert that to calories. And then it's going to transition into, our pancreas, our muscles, our skin, and finally, after about 18 hours, it's going to start pulling glucose from the fat stores and pull that into the liver, convert it into ketones. Now you've got calories to keep going. But when we eat, and then we eat, and then we eat, insulin is always out there working. It's just in a storage phase. It's just poking all the glucose into different storage spots, and it has to create more fat storage to put it. So when we eat and eat and eat, we don't ever get to where we're burning the sources from the fat storage. And being in this just constant storage mode, it actually puts us in a self-induced hormonal change. And this hormonal change might show up as being glucose intolerant, as being diagnosed diabetic. But even before you're diagnosed diabetic, you could be starting the process of having hardening of the arteries forming. And that's something that I'm not interested in. So I don't want to put my body in this self-induced hormonal change by having my insulin at such high levels all the time, putting everything into storage, waiting for me to burn it, but fueling myself back up before I can burn it. It's like we all are like a gas tank. And when we eat, we're literally fueling our body. That's why we eat. We eat to fuel our body, not to soothe our emotions. That's the way it's supposed to be anyway. So a gas tank is only so big. When you're putting gas in your car, everybody's tank is maybe a little bit different, but you're going to fill it to full, and you're not going to keep pumping and letting it run on the ground, especially with prices like they are right now. And our body's the same way, except it doesn't spill out on the ground. It's going to put the extra in fat storage. And we want to make sure that at some point we do get to start burning and using that fat storage. So how do you do this? If it's something you're interested in doing, how do you transition into this? And you can either jump right in and do it, or you can take a gentle approach and get your body ready for it. And that is what I recommend. So to do that, to do either step, we really need to focus on giving our body whole foods. No matter what you're doing, whole foods needs to be the very first thing that you do. We want to transition into that. So if you need help changing from a processed food diet, transitioning that into a whole foods diet, I do have a guide that gives you some easy steps to follow on how to make that process not quite as painful. So comment transition guide, something. If you want that guide, just let me know and I will get that to you. So once you've got the transition made and you are fueling your body with whole foods, the next step is we want to play with what meals you're going to eliminate. So just randomly, skip a breakfast, and then maybe the next day you skip dinner. Maybe you play with the time that you have lunch, and you just feel out, where is it best for my body to skip a meal? What feels best for you? what works in your day. I mean, that's what we honestly have to really focus on. What is going to fit into your life? Because if it doesn't fit, you're not going to follow through, you're not going to do it. So play around, and this may give yourself a couple weeks to do this exercise of skipping meals and seeing which one fits best. Once you have decided where you want to skip your meal, what works best for your body, then you need to narrow down the window. You want ideally a 6 hour, but anywhere from a 6 to an 8 hour window that you are fueling your body in that window. Outside of that window, you are allowed to drink as much water as you want. You can put lemon in your water. You're just not going to be eating food, solid food. And even shakes that have, a lot are supposed to be high in protein. That's something your body's going to break down. So we want to just, in that window, that is the only time that we fuel our body. You want to continue to hydrate outside that window, but the fuel comes in that 6 to 8 hour window. And then from there, you can go on if you want to start doing some longer times that you go without food. That's going to be just individual for everyone. Sometimes I will go a 24-hour window without eating, but I don't do that often. I do notice that it feels good every once in a while to do that, and just to really let my body start burning the excess fuel that's been stored, but I don't do it often. It's going to be just individual, how you feel, and what works with your schedule. You're going to be limited by your schedule. So just another way of letting you know that this is natural. If you think about cavemen and how they lived, if they wanted to eat, they had to go hunt, they had to gather and get the food. We now are in a society that is just abundance oriented. That's what we strive for, is what can we get quick, what is easy, and more of it. And this idea of time restricted eating is kind of like a self-induced scarcity that we are putting on ourselves. And that's not what we've been trained for. So it does feel a little unnatural. But when you think about how our bodies started out, how we started out, we were not eating every 4 to 5 hours because we had to go get that food. And now we've taken the finding of the food out of the equation, we have just filled that spot of the equation up with increased eating times, and we eat over and over and over, and it's not even about the fuel. It's just, it's time to do it. It's time for breakfast, time for lunch, time for a snack. There's not a lot, there might not be a lot of thought going into it about, am I really hungry? Do I really need fuel right now? So let me know what you think. Is time restricted eating something you've tried, something you want to try? Something that maybe some of the added health benefits are something that's maybe sparked a new thought for you about giving it a try. Let me know, and I will be back next week with another Kiss from Kristen. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.